Hi, everyone. Welcome back to the Navigant Credit Union Broadcast Center. I'm GoLocal News Editor Kate Nagel. Thanks for tuning in this Tuesday afternoon. It's been full of politics, design, how to help Rhode Islanders in need, and now we're going to tack to theater. Vince Petronio, the director of Butterfingers Angel, opening November 30th at the Barker Playhouse. Thank you so much for coming in today.
Thank you for having me.
Well, I appreciate it. We have to give a special shout out to Steve Hugg for making sure that Vince gets in here to talk about the show. But before we even get to the show, please introduce yourself a little bit to viewers about your role at Barker and being a director.
Sure. This is my fourth show that I've been directing at Barker. They're a wonderful group located on Benefit Street, and they are the oldest little theater in the United States. Back in the day, it was Barker and it was Trinity primarily around here. And then over time, Barker, their attendance got down smaller and smaller. And within the last few years, they're working really hard to build up their clientele again. And hopefully the show will bring a lot of them in.
So your fourth show, what lured you to direct shows at Barker?
I've acted in the semi-professional theaters around here for about the last 15 or so years, 20 years or so now that I think about it. A lot of years at the now defunct Second Story Theater. But I had avoided directing for a long time until about 4 years ago, and I said, I think now I have something more to offer. So then I started looking around for things to direct, and a friend who was a member of Barker suggested, hey, why don't you think about proposing to Barker a show? And the first show I directed at Barker was A Philadelphia Story. And it went really, really well. And like I said, this is my third one there, and now I'm trying to get back to get my feet on the stage, but I've been having so much success directing in recent years, I haven't been able to get back there. But we're still working on that.
So let's talk about that directorial role, if you will, for the average layperson who doesn't really know how plays are chosen and casted.
Yeah, well, as far as this one in particular, I also teach a scene study and acting class at Barker, both in the fall and in the spring. And this play in particular, Butterfingers Angels, actually I was in 10 years ago at Second Story Theater where I played Joseph. And anyhow, in this class I had a young girl, Phoebe Brown, who was also in the cast of The Philadelphia Story. And then she was 13, now she was 16, and there was another young boy in the class. And I says, I remember that opening scene from Butterfingers Angel. So I gave that to them, and they did such a great job that I thought, all right, that's what I need to do. So for this year, I pitched the Butterfingers Angel at Barker because it says, I know I have my Mary in Phoebe Brown.
Youth is served.
Oh, yes, absolutely, absolutely. And she does such a wonderful job. She and Roger Lemlin, who plays Joseph. Now, here's the thing. Now I played Joseph 10 years ago. And my thought going into directing Joseph, Roger playing Joseph, was not to do what I did.
Is it tough to do that, to get outside yourself a little bit?
It can be, especially if it's a role you've already done. You're hearing the lines and you're hearing your own voice in your head. Roger has done such a wonderful job of it. I've had no trouble whatsoever disassociating myself from that role. So he's done a great job. But as far as casting is concerned, you have a cattle call, you have everybody in the community coming to audition, and you slowly narrow it down, and then it's a matter of who do you think is going to work best, and especially if it's someone you've worked with in the past. Well, then you feel a little bit better because you know what you can get out of them. And I'm sorry, but having worked with Phoebe and having worked with Roger in the past,
you knew it.
They were
you knew it. You had it. Well, you need to tell folks while you're in here a little bit more about the play.
The thing about the play is, it's the Butterfingers Angel, Mary and Joseph, Three Kings, and the Slaughter of 12 Carols. That gives you some idea. It's written by William Gibson, but who also wrote The Miracle Worker about Helen Keller. But this is his different take on the Christmas story, and it is both funny and solemn and hilarious and chilling. The way I generally describe it is at the very beginning of the play, the angel comes down from heaven and sees Mary and goes up to Mary and tells her, you are going to give birth to the Christ child. And Mary's response is, I think you get the wrong Mary. There are a lot of other Marys in my neighborhood. And that gives you some idea of the take of the play. But in addition to it being funny like that, there's a lot of solemnity in it, a lot of Christmas carols. There is a character called the Man in Gray who really represents the dark side. And he appears in 3 different incarnations throughout the play. We have the 3 kings, we have Herod, and we have the angel. So it's really basically the story of Mary, the angel, and Joseph.
And how many seats does this theater hold?
Oh, gee, that's a
Oh, am I
great
putting you on the
question.
spot? You're like,
Yeah,
I'm not the numbers guy.
Yeah, I'm not the numbers guy. I just want them all full, you know?
Is it intimate, would you call it?
Yeah, I'll tell you, the thing about the Barker Playhouse, where the Players exist, it's one of the finest venues for theater in the state. It really is. There are so many other little theaters that would give their eye teeth to be able to work in this venue. So it's an absolute, it's a proscenium, what you would expect, padded seating, and a handicap accessible, thanks to a grant from RISCA for this past year. But it's really a beautiful theater. It's an old theater. Originally, it was a church that was then turned into a theater, I want to say around 1909 or thereabouts.
Right there, it was Benefit Street comes sloping down towards Wicked in there. Now it opens up on November 30th. How long's the run, Vince?
So it runs November 30th and the 1st and the 2nd, and then the 7th, 8th, and 9th. So on Friday and Saturday nights, the show starts at 7:30, and on Sundays, it starts at 2 o'clock. And with an intermission, it'll be a little less than 2 hours. So it's a nice, relatively short play, and it's okay for the whole family. I have 2 young kids who are about 10 years old who are in it, because we also have talking animals. A talking cow, and a talking sheep, and a talking dog.
How have you left us to this point in the interview that you have talking animals?
It just comes to me late, right?
So it is a family-friendly affair?
It is definitely a family-friendly affair.
Okay, very good. Anything else folks should know about Butterfinger's Angel or the Playhouse?
I think you want to truly, if you haven't been to Barker and the Players at Barker, check it out. A lot of people don't even recognize that it exists. And yet, like I said, this is the 110th season for this little playhouse in Rhode Island. So I really hope you think about coming, seeing the show, and if you like it, become a member. And basically, a member means you buy a season ticket, and that's a ticket to every show. And it's a very family-oriented place. They love parties. They give all kinds of parties, including, formal dress parties. And of course, my acting class. So I hope you really think about coming to see the Butterfingers Angel at Barker.
Well, Vince Petronio with the Barker Playhouse, I appreciate your taking the time because I'm sure you're just a little busy getting ready for opening night.
On my way to rehearsal right after
Scooting right back up the hill here. So, Vince, thank you so much for coming into the studio.
Thank you so much for having me.
And thank you for tuning in on Tuesday of this holiday week. We appreciate your watching. Be sure to check in with GoLocalProv.com over the evening and on Facebook as well. And we'll see you back tomorrow on Wednesday here in the Navigant Credit Union Broadcast Center. I'm GoLocal.